welcome to Slow Talk Live. James Davis here, streaming from the Slow Talk studios this afternoon. And want to thank Griffin Bashirs of Sladar Collective, who's in the house helping doing our stream today. And coming up in just a few moments, very talented composer, producer, musician, arranger, artist, probably 5 or 6 more titles. Okay. So we are going to stream. Maybe we're going to go ahead and go off for a minute and make that adjustment on my end so we can do that for more than 10 minutes. Well, and I can cover it. I can put it on mine. Anyway, we're just working through a few questions about the streaming timeframes. I hope everybody's doing good this afternoon. I want to give a big shout out to Dining for Charities, California Central Coast. Check them out online. That's one of the groups that have sponsored Slow Talk. Dining for Charities, California Central Coast, half off dining and other types of adventures on the Central Coast. And the current beneficiary for the 15% of all purchases is Wood Humane Society of the California Central Coast. A great organization. They do an excellent work all throughout our county. And we also want to give a shout out to somebody that helped out Slow Talk Studios, James Gallardo Music, who's out actually getting ready to go on a Norwegian cruise liner. Last I checked, Europe, the Bahamas, and other good places. And coming up in just a few minutes, Jorge Bermudez. He's going to be premiering one of his new songs, Viva San Francisco, and some of the remixes of that. And we also want to give a shout out to our friends at Platinum Peak Productions, PEEK of San Luis Obispo and beyond. And I had those guys in the studio this week. We're really appreciative of their support, their input, their technical advice, and encouragement. And check them out. They are available for all your video needs. Platinum Peak Productions, Cal Poly alumni. And we also want to have you check out slowtalk.com. We provide a podcasting studio, podcasting development, production, recording, distribution services. Slowtalk.com and Slow Talk Live. There's some information up there about our upcoming Veterans Benefit Concert. We'll be doing that at the Siren in Morro Bay on Sunday, November 6th. And going to be from 4 to 7 p.m. with Louis Ortega, the All-Star Band. Special guest this year, Talia Ortega. Looks like we're ready to go. Are we all good? Looks like we're going to stream. We can keep going. No interruptions. Guys, thank you for your patience. I want to go ahead and bring in our guest right now. I mentioned a bunch of titles, producer, writer, artist, musician, good friend, and fellow Giants fan, Jorge Bermudez. Can we bring Jorge on?
Thank you for the invite. Really nice to be on your podcast, my bro.
Hey, Jorge, it's good to see you right there in your studio. All of our viewers can see you live on YouTube on our website. How you doing this afternoon, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just getting back from 4-day sabbatical for my 68th birthday up in the woods in Gurneyville, up in Russian River. So I'm rather refreshed and happy about life at 68.
Jorge, 68 looks good on you, man. I was saying before we started the stream, I haven't seen you in a few minutes, but your color looks good, and man, you look happy. As I say, still alive and kicking on the peninsula, San Mateo to be exact. What's your secret for 68, man? You mentioned something about aquatics.
Well, I can get to the aquatherapy, but the one title that you didn't mention, which is the one I'm most proud of, is grandfather. And I'm a grandfather of 7, and after spending 22 years in LA, illness brought me up north, but I've decided, of course, to stay and try and enjoy my grandkids. This song that we're showcasing today, Viva San Francisco, it came from the fact that I was blessed enough to come out of San Francisco's Mission District and all the really gifted musicians I got to be part of that whole crop of people in the Latin rock scene in the 70s.
That's really it's exciting because you've just set really the tone, the roots for your story. Growing up in San Francisco, the Mission District, my mother grew up there because my grandparents, aunt, uncle, would live there. I visited there a lot as a kid. Spent some of my early days there, so a lot of memories. And we both, of course, share that San Francisco connection. Before we play, that song, Jorge, which is on your Nika collection, is that on Volume One or Volume Two?
It's on volume one. It's available on iTunes, YouTube, and all the streaming places that are available to everybody. But it has four versions on Nika. I have two CDs I've just released: Nika Collection One and Nika Collection Two. The Viva San Francisco is on the first one, but the second one features a lot of music that I recorded. It's 50 tracks that I recorded for TV and film over many years in LA, and over using being blessed with having had like the opportunity to produce 45 tracks for TV and film and many shows.
Jorge, in a little bit we'll play and talk about that, but I want to roll back just a moment. You mentioned the grandchildren and the blessings of grandchildren. How many did you say you had? 7 grandchildren?
Seven. I have seven grandkids.
Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, that's why, if anybody looks for me on Facebook, I am Jorge Bermudez Abuelito, which means grandfather. So you're welcome to check me out there. And we have a page on Facebook as well, Bermudez Triangle.
And you're right there at home. You're right there in the Bay Area. You get to see a lot of your family, the grandchildren, and what a life, Jorge! A life of your choosing, and it looks really comfortable. Thanks for letting us into your studio for a minute today.
Well, this tune that you're just about to hear, the core parts were assembled here in San Mateo in my home studio that I have here. And, I'm really blessed to be able to record tracks, percussion tracks, because of all the titles that you gave me, the one that I spent the most doing is as a percussionist. And that was I'm a journeyman percussionist, and I played with a whole lot of artists. And now that I'm recovering from two heart surgeries from last year, I'm looking forward to my chest healing so I can get back to hitting those drums.
Well, you're looking good in the neighborhood, I must say. And the Mission District, Viva San Francisco, is a. How would you describe, before we play it, how would you describe the heart and soul of the song, where it came from, and what it represents?
For me, what it represents most on a really intimate personal level is that I spent 22 years in LA, and for many years, when I would come back to the Bay Area and I would go back to the city, I would get really melancholy because my mom's gone and everybody, aunties are gone, and friends are no longer living in the city. So the city became kind of like a sad place for me. But then I got back up here and we had the pandemic, and I started rolling into the city. I started going to all the haunts of all the places where I rode my bike all day in the Mission, and Holly Park, Mission Dolores Park, and Ralph Park, all these places that were part of my childhood. Out of that experience, this idea for this song came because it's my Valentine to the Mission District and to the city, and especially to how wonderful San Francisco was to grow up here in the 50s and 60s. It's not that San Francisco anymore. We really had a blessed temp, area at that time. Now things have changed and the world's a little bit more difficult. But
Yes.
that was my inspiration for the song, was my love for the city.
I really appreciate that. I grew up in the Visitation Valley, and my memories are rich. Not the same, but very vivid memories, very appreciative of the roots that our family had. We could literally look across the highway and see Candlestick Park and, the other direction, pretty close to the Cow Palace, and a lot of rich memories, music growing up. In fact, Jorge, your musical roots are very much shaped by your time as a child and a young man in San Francisco. Can you speak to that before we
Sure.
play your song?
My older brother Ron was a DJ in the city uh, on Radio Coffee, which was the Latin radio station of the day in the 60s. And also, then he moved on to KBRG, and he was a very famous DJ who was known as Romber, short for Bermudez. So Ron used to sponsor dances, and his house band at those dances was Pete and Coke Escovedo.
Wow.
So I had the early exposure to the Escovedos as a kid, and it was at one of those gigs that I was hiding in the coat room that I saw the legendary bongo player Armando Peraza playing bongos, and I was like 8, and everybody was going nuts because this small black man was just tearing up the bongos. So there's a whole lot of richness there. My affinity for baseball and the Giants started because my brother was also a barber, and I used to work in the barber shop as a shoe shine kid, and I used to get the chance to shine all these guys' shoes, which was amazing for a 9-year-old who only thought about the Giants and wanting to be Willie Mays.
I mean, these are our hometown heroes. You know, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, um, and the hear your story about being the shoe shine boy and the Giants. Jorge, for our viewers on this video cast and also on the podcast, there's a really funny story about a little interchange that you had that you look back on and chuckle. But as it all transpired, can you share that little
Oh,
story?
yeah.
It's
So,
pretty funny, man.
yeah, no, it's brief and it's
Yeah.
fun. So I was shining shoes in that shop at 9, and consequently, the Giants would come rolling in. The three Alou brothers, Juan Marichal, uh, Jose Pagan, Tito Fuentes, and they would come and get their haircut there. And then there was a billiard hall a couple of doors away. So I would get all that business. So one particular day, Felipe Alou is in there, and I'm shining his shoes, and I'm just mesmerized because it's all-star outfielder Felipe Alou, and I'm looking up at him and looking down, and all of a sudden he looks down at his shoes, and he starts laughing his ass off because I have shined his White Sox brown,
Oh,
and I'm doing a real good job of it, and
oh
he
my
starts
gosh.
cracking up, and the
Oh
whole
my gosh.
barbershop blew up laughing at what I was doing, and he said, "I'm going to give you a tip because I haven't laughed this hard in a long time, and maybe I'll get a hit tonight. I haven't been hit lately, right?" So I took my devious behavior. That was an intentional devious behavior, but I took the liberty of copying down Juan Marichal's phone number from the address book. And so a few weeks later, I gave Juan Marichal a phone call in the middle of the day and woke him up, and he goes, "Hello," and I said, "Hi, Juan," and he says, "Who is it?" I said, "This is Jorge." And he said, why are you calling me, and how did you get my number? I said, "Oh, I just wanted to say hi. Got your number off of the address book at the barber shop." And so, needless to say, he told on me. I got fired, and he didn't win that night. He won against the Astros, and he lost. So I might
Wow.
have been the intentional. That it might have been my fault.
That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And Jorge, baseball, you mentioned, baseball being a pivotal part of your life as a fan and just the contact with the Giants. And of course, most recently, our championships. And I see you out at the games, man. Tell me a little bit about that and what's happening there and your love of baseball, my friend.
Well, anything that I go and do at this point, we may as well share with the viewers.
Yeah.
Many will know is that I've had some pretty incredible years of bad health. I went through 4 years of cancer, stomach cancer. I beat it, 2014, 2018. Then I had a severe back quadruple spinal fusion done 2019. Then both these hands, after playing those conga drums for 50 years, I damaged ligaments, and I had to get them done
Wow.
2020. I thought 2021 was going to be great, but no. I wound up having a near-death experience where I barely made it to Stanford, and I had a quadruple bypass. And then last fall, as I was crossing a little girl across the street, working as a crossing guard for the first time in my life, This pretty little girl ran out of the crossroad. She was 3, and there was a car turning, and I leapt and I got her and I picked her up and saved her life and handed her to mom. But in the process, I tore my sternum once more.
Oh,
And the good news is that I had surgery again and that they fixed it. But I just won the work compensation case on that today. I was sharing with you earlier.
yeah.
And the one funny thing about that work compensation case I will share with everybody is that as we came to an agreement on how much money I was going to get for having gone through that, all of a sudden the attorney from the other side said, "Hey, Mr. Bermudez, I wanted you to know that I've been downloading Bermuda's Triangle music for the last 5 years," right? So he starts talking about my music. And then the judge starts asking me which TV shows I wrote music for. And so the whole hearing came off the rails, and it was really unique. That's never happened to me before.
That's crazy. I was just thinking, the last 5 years, the last 5 days, and that's certainly in the last 5 days. I want to go ahead and spin the remix, the dance remix of Viva San Francisco. And there's a guest artist, a guest vocalist on this track, Jorge.
Allison Lewis
Okay.
and Juan Luis, but we've got an amazing cast. We've got Scott Martin from War. We've got Mark Van Wageningen on bass. We've got Dr. John Calloway from San Francisco State. I don't have everybody's name in front of me,
Yeah,
but let me
yeah.
say that we have a luminary cast. It'll tell you there on YouTube, everybody that we've got. I wrote this song while in the hospital, while getting my chest cracked. We recorded 4 versions. It was an amazing journey recording this track because I did it while having 2 heart surgeries, and everybody came through big for me. All the talent on this thing's beautiful. So I hope you enjoy it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and stream right now the dance remix version, Viva San Francisco, Jorge Bermudez, Bermuda's Triangle Music.
San Francisco.
Que viva. Gon' break up, stop, play guitar, left is hard, yeah. Que viva. Do the frog, yeah.
We love you, San Francisco.
Que viva San Francisco. Que viva mi bello California. Oh, if you grew up in the mission, it will always be in your soul. Running round the city, that's where I'm from. Whoa. Cruising down Valencia, oh, the best of times. Foggy or caliente. Que viva San Francisco. Que viva mi bello California. Que viva.
We love you, San Francisco.
Mi bello California.
Vengo con sangre caliente de países encendidos. Y si me ven que estoy sufriendo, mi gente sufre conmigo.
San Francisco.
Let's go. Que viva, que viva, que viva San Francisco. Que viva mi bello California. Looking at the city from Twin Peaks, got my start here. Carlos used to play guitar here. Tony sang he left his heart here. Barry knocked it out the park here. Times may get hard here, but we shine through all the fog here. Yeah, yeah. This is ours here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
We love you, San Francisco.
San Pancho, hoy te compongo esta canción. Alturas vernales, Valencia y la misión. Y todo me nace del corazón. Where did all the hippies go? With all that love and peace, it can help to make the day. Catholic school was filled with pain. They beat us every day. Jesus Christ wouldn't like that. Ahora escucha mi llanto, oye, que viva la misión. La la la.
San Francisco.
Wrong break, I'ma start. Play guitar, left is hard. Yeah. Do the frog, yeah.
We love you, San Francisco.
If you grew up in the mission, it will always be in your soul. Running round the city, that's where I'm from. Whoa. Cruising down Valencia, oh, the best of times. Foggy or caliente. Que viva San Francisco, que viva mi bello California, que viva.
We love you, San Francisco.
We're almost back live. All right, we're back here. That was Viva San Francisco Dance Remix. Jorge Bermudez, Bermudez Triangle Music. Jorge, that's quite a song, man. Could you tell our viewers, our listeners, who was on that track, who you assembled together for those recordings?
It was a blessing to be able to get this lineup for that recording. Allison Lewis on lead vocals, Juan Luis Perez lead vocals. On guitar, I had Chris Camozzi, Juan Carlos Ramirez, Terry Woolman, Scott Martin on saxes, Martin von Bachernhagen from Tower of Power on bass, Walfredo de los Reyes Jr. on drum from the classic group Chicago, Dr. John Calloway of San Francisco State on flute and piano, Adrian Arreaz, son of Santana member Chapito Arreaz on timbales, along with Leopoldo Rosales from the group Malo and Momontombo. We had Chalo Eduardo doing Cuica, who spent 10 years with Sergio Mendez's band.
Wow.
And I wrote and produced, played percussion, and swept the studio afterwards when everybody left.
You talk about an all-star band. That is all these people you've either played music with, friends, colleagues. This is quite a lineup, Jorge. And these recordings at different studios and then put together for the final mix?
Well, it came together, as you know, right in the middle of the pandemic. We were doing this. It started like April 2021, and we just kept building and building the track. It took. We actually released it. The first version, we have 4 versions of it, and we released the first one literally the last week of the year.
Wow.
So that meant that it took all year to get to where we are now, where we have a dance mix I'm really proud of, and the Latin rock mix, which the listeners will hear as well. The reason that one is my favorite organically is because you hear just tremendous guitar work from Chris Camozzi, who was my co-producer on that version. And Chris he played with Michael Volt for 20 years, and I didn't want him to sound like Carlos Santana. Sorry, Carlos. I wanted an individual sound for the track, and Chris really delivered for me.
Jorge, we've got to bring. I have to interlude before we play the Latin rock version. I had the privilege of listening to that version. I love both versions of the songs, especially the Latin rock version. I'm looking forward to hearing that band down here in San Luis Obispo County.
That would be an absolute joy. I guess my specialty has been in putting together all-star bands because so many years of recording and touring with so many artists, I've gotten to know a lot of wonderful, talented people along the way. And, it's been a total blessing. And so therefore, when I've done my recordings, I've been able to tap on their shoulder and say, come and bring some of your magic my way. And then I try to do the same for them as well.
I'll never forget when you brought Pops, Pete Escovedo, the Escovedo brothers, the whole family, Roy Obido, the whole group down, about a 12-piece. Yeah, just an amazing, for the Jazz Festival, just an amazing time.
Orchestra, and we had the blessing of coming to San Luis Obispo and with a stellar band, and fun was had by all, the audience and the band. So it was a very, very special night because you also had Abierto there, which was
That's right. That's right. We are jumping ahead a little bit. I want to play the Latin rock remix of Viva San Francisco, Jorge Bermudez, the Bermudez All-Stars.
This is just straight Bermudez Triangle.
Bermudez Triangle music, Bermudez Triangle. All right. We're going to cue that up right now for our listeners.
San Francisco.
Qué lindo es mi barrio. Cha, la, 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 la.
San Francisco.
Que viva San Francisco.
All right, you've been listening to the Latin rock remix of Viva San Francisco by Jorge Bermudez, Bermudez Triangle on YouTube, and check him out wherever you get your music. Jorge Bermudez, Bermudez Triangle Music. Jorge, man, you got that fresh neighborhood street party sound on that song, man, and for our viewers, talk about and our listeners, talk about some of the players, the people that you assembled together for that Latin rock remix, man. That's so good.
You know, the thing that is the greatest about that is, you know, I was blessed enough to come out of the Latin rock scene in San Francisco. This is a specific vibe, and you know, I just tried to almost we recorded this almost as a throwback song, but
Yeah.
with you know modern ingredients, of course. But you know, my biggest enjoyment was I co-produced this particular track with Chris Camozzi, who's a guitar player from Michael Bolton, and
Yeah.
his guitar and he hits that part where he's doing the guitar duet. You know, it was like rock out all over the place. You know, and for me, it was a pleasure because as much as I respect Carlos Santana, I wanted the song to not sound like we were trying to mimic Santana, but yet, you know, it's still part of the rock sound, which was part of that generation, and that we all came up to, and we're part of it.
And such powerful influences all over, you know, the city and our roots. And the music, of course, exploded across the United States, Woodstock, but the different variations of, you know, I can list probably 10 Latin rock bands, Malo, Azteca, Santana. You can keep going, all the different repercussions of that era. And then even now, still predominant. And of course, you know, Santana's had some comeback records, and so many people talk about those influences. And I have a friend that just went on Norwegian Cruise Lines and talked about all the Latin percussion that was predominant in the music on that specific vessel. You know, all those Latin rhythms combined with rock. And so growing up and then seeing this still be such a vibrant part of our musical scene is cool. And you know, your most recent incantation. This is it's exciting, Jorge, for you to be able to get back and do this with the visuals. And talk a little bit about some of the dancers on the videos that we just saw.
They come from Carnival in the city.
Yep.
It is the thing unique to San Francisco. Other cities are doing it, but not quite like we do Carnival here in San Francisco. So, so the dancers that were featured were friends of mine from way back, and they, there's one on there called Rosie Lopez Moret. Rosie was a dancer that escaped Cuba and literally swam over the Rio Grande to get here. But she used to be one of the top dancers at the Tropicana Hotel in Havana, Cuba, and easily the finest dancer I ever worked with because drumming to her improved my playing, but she had moves that had never even seen.
Wow. Wow. So, Jorge, shifting gears, I really want to get to Volume 2, song number 1 on the Nika collection that's been re-released. And maybe talk a little bit about the licensing rights. That's a fascinating story that you just got to your music, but publishing rights. But 1993, Bongo Land, Warner Brothers Music. You had a contract there. No, not available? Okay, number... Oh, it's Volume 1. Got it. Okay. Do we have... so we don't have Cuba Cabano... okay. Let's show the third track from Volume 1, Macarena Mama Reggaeton. Is that right? Araca Mama. Maraca Mama. We got to get it right, man. The cat's got it printed right over there. Maraca Mama. And the reggaeton version. Is that right, Jorge? All right. Let's go ahead and let me play that. Let's stream that. And then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about how that came about, okay?
Oye,
All right, Maraca Mama, Bermuda's Triangle, and wherever you find your music. Of course, that version is on YouTube. Jorge, my gosh, talk about a big production. What went in? I mean, we were talking a little bit about you remember in the studio and what that song was used for. Tell our viewers, our listeners, what was going on there. When was this created, and who was it created for, man? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. And Jorge, the Lucky Seven was the TV series, and of course, you've done a variety of songs that are on these volumes that folks can check out, can stream, can download, purchase, and just a lot of fun, a lot of rich history here, and some. Yes. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. They'll make that connection. Speaking of connections, Jorge, I saw some video that we're going to stream here in a little bit. I think it's a percussion solo that you did at the Getty Center. I remember when you were setting this event up, not too long ago in the stream of time. Could you talk a little bit about what that event was, when it happened, and who that night, who the Bermuda's Triangle All Stars were, and what that event was all about, man? It'll come back, yeah. Really. Amazing. Yeah. Jorge, hats off to you, really, for bringing all those players together for one, incredible night of entertainment. I don't know that all of you guys have ever played together like that before in that kind of configuration ensemble. And so I think now let's go ahead, Griffin, and roll that clip of the percussion at the Getty Center with Jorge Bermudez, the Bermudez All Stars. Wow, Jorge, that was amazing, man. I love seeing that video. It would have even been better to be there that night. That was at the Getty Center, and when did that happen? You said just before the lockdown. Yes. Oh, so it says he's getting some feedback that his audio is not good. No audio at all for you right now? Just not as clear as it needs to be. Huh. Not able to hear him in the last part. So he's checking right now. We're checking that right now. Thank you for the feedback, Jorge.
Roseanne, say thank
Go
you.
ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Jorge, I think it's fixed. Thank you so much for that feedback. We should be streaming well now. Jorge, in the last few minutes, can you hear me okay, my friend?
I can.
So you talked a little bit about your licensing and music and publishing rights. That just happened recently that you were able to obtain all the rights to your music?
That just happened a month ago. I was no, if I made a publishing deal in 2011. I sold off my rights because I was in need of some dough, and I had expectations that I was going to have a fertile relationship with this publishing company, and they'd get my song more on TV and film. It didn't turn out that way, and it was quite an ugly relationship because I wanted my rights back, and they weren't doing right by me.
Right.
But there's a miracle, and North Star Media had some conviction and honesty and sincerity, and they sold them back to me at a very reasonable rate. So now I control all my rights. Most artists don't get to do that. Once you sell your rights, they're gone forever. I got them right, and so I'm gonna recreate some of the old music. I'm gonna do some remixes, and I'm just gonna use it for fodder now that I have no limitations.
Jorge, in just a moment, I'm going to have you mention your website and things, but I want to invite you down to the studio real soon so we can have you live here, Slow Talk, directly from the studio. Can we do this again and add to the story, man?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to come down. I love that area down there, and I love you, James. We've been friends for a long time, and I really thank you for inviting me to come and do this. And I hope I do get to bring the killer band down to the San Luis Obispo area again in the near future.
We would absolutely love that. I would love some of the younger musicians to not only see but set the stage for them to play with you in the All Stars. That's my passion, is exposing young artists to artists that have already gone out there and doing it. And you're certainly
that was done. That was done for me.
Really
In my career, right?
so
Where
cool,
I
man.
got to play one of those aha moments of my career was when Leo Rosales and I and our high school Latin rock band, we were really full of fire. And this gentleman named Marcos Gutierrez stuck us on stage at Spartan Coliseum
Wow.
in between Doobie Brothers, Joan Baez, and Steve Miller. And the crowd loved us. And we heard that big roar from the crowd. And I knew I wanted to do this.
I think you were ruined from day one in a good way, Jorge. What a great closing story, man. And you got it in your bones and never look back, my friend. You're the guy that doesn't have a bucket list. You just have a list of the things to do while you're living. And keep us updated, my friend. It's exciting.
It is a good time to be healthy again and ready to make some music. And I thank you so much for the invite, and God bless your family, my brother.
God bless you. God bless you and your family, Jorge. And, I probably neglected to mention that we go way back to high school days, Tower Record days. And it's amazing, man. It's so great to see you still kicking it and doing, in my books, better than ever. Cheers and keep on trucking, Jorge Bermudez.
Okay, my brother. Take care.
All right, we're going to go ahead and sign off Slow Talk Live. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks with some exciting guests. We'll go ahead and post that on Facebook, the website, YouTube, Instagram, all the usual places. We thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, check out slowtalk.com. We provide podcasting studio services, distribution, marketing, development, all of your podcasting needs consulting, slowtalk.com. Thanks again for listening. James Davis tuning out right now.